Blog Talk Radio. Today is Monday, October 10th, 2022, and this is Foxology. I am Silver Ray Fox, your host. Happy Monday. I'm happy because it's a Master Your Mindset Monday. I'm always excited about that. Well, I hope you're having a really grand day. I hope you're also having an exciting day. I hope the sun is shining and all that in your neighborhood. I do hope that for you. But you know what? I do know that it's possible that you may not be feeling all of that enthusiasm today. Or maybe you didn't feel it yesterday either, or the day before that, or maybe not in quite a while. Listen, people, I get it. I know some reasons and seasons in life are much tougher than others. I do. And I do know that it can take all of the effort and the wherewithal you can conjure up to keep it going. It can be difficult to not throw in the towel, and plain and simple to just not give up. I know all about it, but you know what? I don't want you to do that. If you feel like that, today's show is especially for you. Today I'll be talking about persevering, the power of perseverance, because I want all of us, to keep pushing forward in life. So what I am going to do is share with you some of what I have learned in the process of learning what persevering really means and what it can do for you. It can matter, I'll tell you what. Well, perseverance, what is perseverance? Well, the dictionary definition of it, it's pretty clear. It is persistence in doing something despite the difficulty or delay in achieving success. I'll repeat that. It's persistence in doing something despite the difficulty or delay in achieving success. Well, that's broad, but I'm going to break it down for you as I go through my conversation with you. But as I said, I've been through a lot of things in life, and certainly if you go through as much stuff as I have and you haven't learned something, then shame on me for sure. Shame on me for sure. But I did learn a lot, and so where I'm coming from today is very heartfelt for anybody who may be feeling like you really do need a boost to keep it going in life. I'm going to share some things with you about what the process was like, and some of the tips that will help you as they did support me in my times of challenge and difficulties. Sometimes life will blindside you with stuff that happens. It can, there are things that will happen just to completely take you down and out. I know I have been there. Some things will just daze you. It just seems so unbelievable. Some of the things that you might be experiencing and going through, or just baffle you to a point that you just feel so confused. You don't have any idea how to move out of that particular place and space. You can truly be stunned by life's challenges. As I said, I and I'll probably say it 10 more times before our conversation is over. I know what that's like, but I'll tell you what's really interesting. One of the most simple things that I did learn, and that is that things are going to happen. I wasn't always in that mental space. You kind of think if you're living your life all right and you're being good to people and doing good stuff and all that, bad things shouldn't happen to you. But to the contrary, stuff just does happen. And first thing I want you to know is it's not just you. It's happening to all of us. All of us experience challenges and difficulties and hard things in life. So it's important to know that, so that you don't put yourself in a space of some deep self-pity or feeling like you're a victim to all of the things that can happen, because unfortunately a lot of things can happen all at the same time in our life and world, and it's just a reality. And I had to come to that reality that things were happening, not necessarily in some circumstances of anything that I had done to create or cause certain things to happen. Stuff just does occur. And it's an important thing to know if you're going to be able to rise up and walk out of a lot of things that happen. Again, you don't want to imprison yourself with thoughts of, that you've created something that, you may have made happen in your life, and you really just are not responsible. However, you are going to be, for the most part, I would say, responsible for making your way through, for persevering. And that's why I'm talking to you today, because I learned that I had to shoulder most of the effort to get myself from point A to point wherever that was down the road, to get to a point where things were better or okay or all right or resolved. So know that that's going to be on you. That's an important thing to remember. It's going to be on you. And you may be thinking, but what if something did happen because of somebody else and they need to fix it and all of that? Well, it still is going to be upon your shoulders and responsibility to connect and make resolves or connections to that situation to get the outcome, hopefully, that you want to have. It doesn't, just because somebody else may have created a circumstance doesn't mean they're going to fix it with your best interest in mind. And so you have to take the responsibility for the outcome you would like to see in many of those circumstances. Now, I'll kind of throw this in here, too. Sometimes you are in something that maybe is not what we would call typically fixable. And if that happens, my thing is, what I have done when I found out that I couldn't come to a really good resolve, you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And sometimes you do have to tear down things for the purpose of rebuilding and then start over again. So keep that in your mental pocket as we go through the conversation, if you're in a circumstance like that. Now, how do you fight the temptation to give up? Well, you have to look for inner strength. And here's what I have to say about that. You probably wouldn't have made it as far as you have if you were not strong. You probably wouldn't have made it this far. So do know that even though you may feel like you're just weary and tired and just done, and where will you come up with some more strength? I have wondered that periodically, but there is more strength in you. There's a scripture that says something to the effect that you can go from strength to strength. It's not talking about exactly what we're talking about, but it was talking about distressing situation and time, and how you can get the strength to go to the next strength. So that's what I want you to keep in mind. You can get stronger, and persevering, you will get stronger. You're going to have to say things to yourself like, I have the strength to do this. And it may be complicated. Oh, my goodness, it may be complicated. It may be even a disastrous situation. It may be a hot mess, as they say. But you'll have to tell yourself that you have the strength to get through it. I can get through it. That's what I had to tell myself time and time again in the midst of some really hard trials, that I can do this. I can do it. I can find the strength in myself to do it. It's your mind that you have to work with when we're talking about what I'm talking about. It may try to tell you different. It may say, I've tried everything, I've done everything. What else could I possibly do? And all of that. Well, if you haven't gotten to the right resolve that you want, the achievement, the accomplishment, the whatever it is that your goal was, then that means that you still have some work to do. You still can find the strength to do it. You've got to remember that inside you there is the potential for whatever the possibilities that may be ahead. And the other thing that can help us fail in this process is that we think we have to visibly see everything. Well, the thing is, you're going to have to visibly see in your mind. And even if you can't come up with a clear focus, you have got to see that there is an end, a happy end, a satisfactory end to wherever it is you're wanting to go, whatever it is that you're deciding needs to be done. But that kind of willpower will keep you. It will keep you going until you can get a clearer vision, a plainer direction of your pathway. And I know it may sound like that's just, how do you do that? I'm telling you the only how that I know. And I'm way along in my years, and I'm still here, and I still have a great amount of happiness and joy in my life. And I'm telling you, I've overcome some things that some people would have probably never made it through it. They would have given up at many junctures in my life. They would have just totally given up. But I didn't. And that's why I'm talking to you. And that's why I don't want you to give up either. There's still a lot more ahead for you, I promise you. Many things are achievable and doable, although not easy to achieve or do. So getting through trials and challenges, difficulties, you can, but you know what they say, what's that they say? It's doable, but it's just not easy. It's just not always easy. Some things in life are easy. Some things can happen at the snap of a finger. We're not talking about that today. We're talking about something that a lot of us have faced, are facing, are in the middle of right now, and you need to find the ways to get through it. You're going to have to be determined. I mean, truly determined. Determination is that factor, again, that plays into the will that says, I can. I know all of you remember the little story about the little engine that could. It said, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. You got to be determined at each and every thing that tends to say you can't, to say, I think I can, and not in a way that's you're guessing about it. I think I can. Well, I do think I can. And that will be, self-motivating. That will be the thing that will help you, because what you're teaching yourself in the midst of all of this is how to have the kind of perseverance that really pans out for you eventually in a very positive way. So you have to be determined. You have to be determined to get results. And I know I can't know every single thing that everybody is going through. I only know what I've gone through. I only know what people have shared with me, and I've been able to help encourage them to get through some of their challenges in life. But I do know determination, your own will help you greatly in all of this. So be determined that whatever it is that you're trying to get to or get through, that you will get to it and get through it. Be determined to get a solution. We often don't want to do the critical moves, and we don't want to do the critical thinking that is required sometimes to get us through to a solution. But I often think about difficult math problems, and even some that are not especially difficult. I'm not talking about the rocket science type of math, but there are a lot of steps to get to a solution when you're talking about math, and I think it's a great analogy about life. Sometimes there are a lot of steps you have to go through before you can get to the right solution. And sometimes you get stuck right in the middle of a problem, in the math problem. And you have to think and maybe review what you've already done and all of that kind of stuff to get yourself going through to the rest of it to get to the right answer. So be determined. Don't be of the mindset where you think things should just happen with a snap or overnight. If they do, what a wonderful thing. I wish all problems were solved that quickly and easily, but they're not. Life is full of challenges and complications, and it will take very often, as I said, several steps and backtracking and retracking and reviewing and going over it again until you get to a solution. And all of that, people, is a part of what persevering is. You have to be determined to finish and to finish strong. And that's easily understandable. That means that in the course of whatever it is you're going through and where you need to get to, there's a finish. There's a finish line. There's a place where you come to a great resolve, or things turn around, or, you know, whatever the case may be. But you have to be determined to finish. The motivation in us sometimes when we're hurting, you know, when it just feels overwhelming, we do want to quit. We want to quit in the middle of our race. But I'm going to encourage you not to do that, because you can finish, and you can finish strong. But you won't know that if you don't keep heading toward your finish. And again, I kind of feel like I hear people are like, but I don't know what that is. Well, wherever you are in your reason or season in life where the challenge is, take some time today to figure out what it would look like as an outcome that would satisfy you. What does that look like to you? And maybe you have several things that might look like. Jot them all down. Think through them all, because that will help you know what direction you would like to take toward finishing what it is, or the finish line of what it is. Being capable of knowing that you can finish strong. Take a look at the possibilities of what it may be. If it's getting a degree, well, you know what that takes. It takes, going to school, and maybe you had to stop and you didn't go back. I know about that. I had to go back to college 3 times. I had to go to college 3 times to get my degree, and I finished as an adult. And it was one of the hardest things I have ever done in my whole life, I promise you, because there were challenges that I faced that I couldn't have anticipated that had me stopping and going. And so, the thing is, though, here's the thing. I never, ever stopped being determined that I was going to get my degree. I knew I would. And I would be like some of these people in the news that we read about and give accolades to that got theirs at 80 and 90 years old. If I had to do that, that's what I would have done. Fortunately, I was able to do it before that. But determination in me would have made me hang in there that long. That's what persevering is, and that's what determination makes you do. You tell yourself you're going to do it, period, point blank. That's all, that's it. I'm doing it. You have to have that kind of mindset to finish and to finish strong. Be determined to take the next step. I mentioned the math problems a little earlier. Sometimes we do get stymied or stuck or feel paralyzed in the middle of some of these sudden things that can happen. I talked to someone this morning that had two unfortunate deaths in their family, back to back. Things like that, man, they can wipe you out. I know that grief. I know how horrible that feels. And you've lost somebody and you feel like you're going to lose your mind. You think that what's the purpose, because you are hurting so much and grieving so deeply. I want you to know that I know about that. I've lost 2 children in this lifetime. One when she was 4 and another when she was 42. One in the car accident, the one that was younger, and the other from a breast cancer event. So I know what deep and horrible grief feels like. I know. And so I can't tell you that that was an easy thing to get through. I can just tell you that you can come through it, and you can come through it successfully, that you don't have to harbor pain about it, that if you keep going, the pain does start to dissipate. And what I've learned the most from it is that you don't ever stop loving those people. You don't get over that. Getting over it is not really what you think of. You learn to understand we're all going to leave here. There's no way out. We're all leaving through death's door. That's just the reality. And so what we have to come to understand that's a life fact. And some people are going to go a lot differently than others. That was a conclusion I had to come up with in my understanding and reasoning of how to get through such a difficult, horrible thing having occurred in my life. That was only one step. The next step with something that hard was time. And time does help with it. And when you just begin to get on with things in life that are normal and natural for you to be doing. And I think sometimes we feel like we're supposed to be feel guilty if we stop thinking about them, or, we go on and we find a new life, happy life, and, all of that. I just really believe that anybody that loved you would not want you feeling sad for the rest of your life. I just don't believe that they would. I believe they would want the best kind of life and the best kind of happiness and the most happiness that you could find. That's my belief, and I would like for you to believe that as well. It's just, we don't have to feel any level of sadness for forever. I think about my daughters often. I've got pictures of them sitting right here in front of me on my desk, so I'm looking at them all the time. But I'll tell you what, when I do, I think of happier things. Every now and then, it hits me. If I go to the cemetery, I think that's the saddest place on earth for me. But it's momentary that I go through an issue of grief like that. Most of the time when I think about them, I'm thinking things that are really pleasant and happy about them because they brought me so much joy. So if you can think in terms of that as a process to step through grief, now that was just one thing. Of course, there are other problems and issues where you can only take the first step, and whatever that first step may be toward, again, trying to figure out what to do. Remember, you can do it in steps. I talked to someone recently who shared with me about taking a pathway to out of addiction. And I said to her, well, she in her mind, she just wanted to, I'm not doing this anymore. I know that it's not that easy, not because I've had an addiction, but because I know people who have gotten through it successfully. So I said to her, why don't you just look at it as taking it a day at a time? So that was a step. And then each day is another step toward victory over something like that. But it works the same way, people, regardless of what that thing may be that you may be struggling with or in the midst of. And I mentioned earlier, it might be disastrous, it might be a mess, it might be so chaotic. But just remember that you can take a step and then maybe tomorrow take another step. And what that does is help reel yourself in so that you can do some good thinking about what it is you need to do next to win the fight against yourself. And that's kind of what I've been talking about, too, to win the fight against yourself, because we are so easily tearing down ourselves when stuff happens and making finding fault with ourselves and, telling ourselves how something should have happened and because of us it did, and, just finding fault, self-pity, self-sabotage, all of that stuff. Well, you got to be determined to win that fight against yourself. And it may not be easy either. It may not. I can remember times where stuff happened, and I was just so heartbroken. Business endeavor fell through. A couple of efforts I made and just didn't work out. I was just brokenhearted about it. And you know what? I stayed brokenhearted too long about it because, it's okay. It's natural to feel grief when something doesn't work out the way you had hoped. But there's only a certain amount of time I've learned that you need to dedicate to that. It's okay to feel bad for a little while, but try to make a comeback as quickly as possible. If you can pick up the pieces, great. Go ahead and do that and start again. If it means doing a new thing, go ahead and do that. But what you do want to fight, again, is staying in places that you've created for yourself that are not moving you into any place way too long. Try with all your heart and mind to win the fight against yourself, because all of that self-pity and that victimizing that you're doing to yourself, there are not many things that are going to come to rescue you unless you have people around you that are know how to throw you a rescue line, know how to throw you a lifeline, or people like me who are going to just push you into a place by encouraging you and telling you how you need to believe in yourself. But try to win that fight against yourself when you're feeling like you're pushing yourself into a corner. Pull yourself out of that. I mean, I can understand, as I said, for a minute, you may have to, feel all of the painful effects of what has happened, but don't stay there. Don't stay there. Try to move yourself out of that as quickly as possible. Be determined that you're going to go to the next level. I know that there are a lot of people, I do a lot of reading about business stuff and business people. It's amazing how many people, truly successful people, have been through some stuff you just would not believe. But they were determined to get to their next level, whatever that is. I don't know what your next level is. I don't know. I just know this, that you need to be determined to get to it. Again, if it is a specific thing, keep that specific vision, that specific purpose, that specific plan in your mind and heart and on paper so that you can get there. And do not give yourself an option of not getting there. Be determined to go to the next level. And you know what they say, when you're in a particular challenge or at the bottom or struggling like that, there's only one way up. You know what that is? Of course you do. It's up. You're going to have fortitude. And what does that mean as far as perseverance? That means you'll have to have courage facing stuff. Courage. So fear and fretting about stuff you're going to have to push that aside. Sometimes I think people think it feels good to just, be in that place where, I tried and, it didn't work out, and, you're really dealing with fear of moving forward because this person didn't do that or that thing didn't happen that way and you tried and blah, 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 blah. You're going to have to push all of that aside. If it's past, keep moving forward. You're going to feel it. People, I can't even tell you enough how you're going to feel a lot of this stuff that I'm talking about. But the only way you're going to overcome it is by a lot of the things that I'm telling you. When I say put it aside, I mean you just kind of have to start going for the next thing. What is that? It's what you decide it is. But you're going to have to put that thing that's making you feel fear and fretting and failure and whatever, you have to put that aside. Because, newsflash, you can always start a new thing. Not sometimes, not now and then, but you can always start a new thing. So find the courage to do that. Find the fortitude to go ahead and do that. It's okay to say, yeah, I tried, didn't work out, but that doesn't mean you tried and you shouldn't do something else. I was at that point. That happened to me one time, and it was like a light went off. Like, okay, because this was a lot of years ago. Like, okay, I'm full of ideas and skills, and I'll just have to come up with something else. Maybe that just wasn't the avenue or the thing for me. So you can always start new. Push those feelings aside, those feelings of fear and that fretting over things and all of that. And you just work at it, even if it's day by day, all day, finding the courage to fight those feelings. How? With deliberate actions. I was of a mindset, God, I just feel almost ashamed about it because I did it more than once. Or I was just waiting for stuff to happen because I thought I had put all the pieces together. Smart stuff, smart moves. Not just a lot of guesswork. But then waiting for some other pieces to just fall into place with what I put in place. And I say, think now, how stupid was that? Very. You have to take some actions beyond what just you do. And by that, I mean, if you know that there are other critical pieces that are supposed to fit into the purpose, the plan, the goal, the problem solving, the resolve, go for that once you've done your part. Once you've done what you know, I should have reached out to some people. I should have asked some more questions. I should have done several things differently. But I was in this mindset that certainly with all that I've done right, now the right thing will happen and come to me. Well, good luck with that. That doesn't necessarily happen. There are circumstances, though, where people show up and blessings come, so I'm not discounting that. But I'm going to say that in the great majority of efforts and processes, it's going to take you going your own extra mile or 2 or 3 or 10. Even when you think you've got everything lined up, even when you think you got everything in place, even when you think you've got all your ducks in a row, just keep that in mind. It's going to take some more. You have to have deliberate intentions about where you're going. There was a book called The Power of Intention. It's a real thing, people. Intention is pretty clear. It's what you intend to do or where you intend to go. It's in your mind that's it. And I know, again, you're thinking, but I don't know. Well, it's time to look closer or get counselors or get advice from people who can help you map it out, figure it out, sort it out. It's the time to do that. Don't hang in there long by yourself if you really don't know. Seek out what it is that you need to know about your own intentions. You know that you want to do a certain thing in life, or you know that this problem can get resolved, or you can come out of this trial. Just like I was explaining about the grief in my life. You get enough information to support you And a lot of times that's all you need is some additional information that will help you toward understanding your own intention in regard to whatever it is that you're going through or you want to do. Seek it out. I say that again. Seek it out. Seek it out somehow. You know, we are in an information age. Almost anything you want to know. I tell you, I ask Google so many questions about things, and it always can lead me to something else to get an answer for. Just keep looking. Keep searching. If you can't get it that way, I mean, I don't want Google to be, you know, the end-all to everything, because it certainly isn't that. But it can provide information for you and often direction that will help you with your intentions. Have a deliberate mindset that says this, that regardless of where I'm at, what I'm in, what's happening, how horrible it is, how challenging it is, I'm not backing down and I'm not backing out. I'm going forward, and it is what it is. But somehow on the other side of this, I believe that there's something better. So be deliberate in your mindset that you're not going to back down, that you're not going to back out. And what does that mean? Simply put, it means that you're going to have to be a fighter. And I know you know what that means. There is no backing out or backing down when it comes to persevering. There isn't. That's what the very word means, that you're going to keep pursuing, persisting, pushing, leaning in, pressing in on whatever it is that needs to happen. You have to be unrelenting. That means you just you just stand your ground for yourself, even if it's by yourself. You're going to have faith. Best kind of faith is faith in God. And I don't think I could talk to too many people that don't know what that means. That's the all power. But the second best kind of faith is faith in yourself, and that's what I want to talk about, faith in yourself. A lot of times that's harder than having faith in God, because we really want to sit back and let God do the work for us, and that doesn't help us learn anything. It doesn't help us grow. It doesn't help us become stronger. It doesn't help our faith expand in any kind of way. And all of that is necessary in the process of perseverance. So let's just focus on you for a few minutes and your part in whatever it is. Are you doing anything? Are you doing everything that it takes to move you in a better direction? Are you? Are you doing everything or anything that you can to move toward your goal? Are you doing anything and everything toward a solution? That thing that you're trying to achieve or accomplish, are you doing anything and everything that it takes to move you toward it? Those are valid questions to ask yourself. Very valid. Because I mentioned earlier when I was talking that a lot of this is on your shoulders. How I wish for us that there were people at every turn that were willing to shoulder our responsibilities to get us where we want to go. Now, good people come along, and thank God for them, but do anything and everything that you can do. Do anything and everything you can do to take you toward the direction that you need to be going in. Do anything and everything. Now, something that I'm not talking about, sometimes we feel like very act of worrying or wishing is doing something, and that's really not doing anything, but it feels energetic. You know, we're wondering what's going to happen next or how it's going to happen next, and we talk about it to people and all of that, and we think that that's doing something. Well, that's not doing anything. It's just spinning your wheels, and that's something that's just, going nowhere fast. So you're going to have to recognize that too. Just because it feels like there's an output of energy, if you're not really doing something, you're not really going to go in a direction. All the talking about it in a way that's not helping, in negative terms, and the why, and wondering about it, and all of that, and how it should be, and all of that is producing nothing. It's producing nothing. So you're going to have to be very careful, because it feels like some kind of movement. All you're really doing is putting a lot of negative energy in the atmosphere, and that's really what you don't want to do. People, you got to believe. You got to truly believe that you can. You got to have the faith to believe that you can get to it, get through it, get over it, get around it, achieve it, be it, win it. You got to believe it. You got to believe that you will. And if you can take these principles, that I have shared with you today, I promise you, whatever it is, it's possible. You just got to believe for it, whatever that it is. And something else I want to mention, you've got to do what you can do to remove obstacles out of your way as well. Sometimes people are obstacles. Sometimes, certain places that we frequent are obstacles. Certain things that we're doing are obstacles. And so we got to make sure, not just in our intentions and our, positive thinking and our will to do something in our faith, sometimes we got to move stuff out of our own way. And it is really hard to do. One of the most successful men I know told me about how he had to cut ties with his very best lifelong friend. And as he told me about it, it was so challenging to him because he loved this guy. But he knew that his association with him was not going to allow him to become the success that he is today. That's just one circumstance. There are several that we have to take a close look at and make decisions about. Because even though we love people, they love us, not everybody wants to see you in a bigger, better place and space in life. And I can't explain all the reasons for that. That's a whole other Master Your Mindset segment. Maybe we'll talk about it another time. But you have to remove the obstacles, whatever they are and whoever they are, that keep you from getting where you want to go. And if you need more skill sets, look for that. Again, so much is available to you to help you in your act of persevering that can help you get where you want to go. More tools, more knowledge, more getting direction from people who have experience to help you, who can map out some things for you. But just keep in mind, you may face obstacles or have them already, and maybe where you're at right now and wanting to go is only because of an obstacle or two. But whatever you have to do, think it through and work on getting them removed, because you can defeat this entire process if you do not do what's in your power to do. You can defeat this entire process if you don't do what's in your power to do. You get that? Do everything you can. What I don't want you to do is give up. With perseverance, you have the power to do that. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to stay with it. I want you to find that strength, find that determination, find that fortitude, and find that faith. And never allow yourself to back up or back down or give up. Okay? Good. Well, that's going to be a wrap for that today. I hope you enjoyed this edition of Master Your Mindset. I surely did. Shoot, I feel encouraged again all over again myself. I tell you, I do. I feel so empowered by sharing with you today, and I hope you do as well. If you would to get some more encouragement from things that I do and write, there are many programs in the archives, many Master Your Mindset episodes that will just bless you. And also on silverrayfox.com, I have a lot of articles that I have written that do the same. So go ahead and go there and take a look and do a little bit of reading. They're all short articles, but they're meant for that. They're meant for empowering and inspiring. So, and also, if you really found this helpful, I'm going to encourage you to get my book as well, Stay in the Ring. It's on Amazon.com. If you go there, be sure you put Stay in the Ring by Silver Ray Fox, because I think there may be another author or two that have books under the same name. But if you found some great takeaways with today's conversation, I'm really going to encourage you to get that book, because that's exactly what Stay in the Ring means. It's all about the power of persevering, and I offer a lot of additional information that I didn't talk about here that I know will be helpful to you. So in the meantime, I'm going to look forward to talking to you again. Actually, in just a couple of days on Wednesday, I have a special guest that she's going to be talking about some very exciting and empowering information as well. You know why? Because that's what I do here on this program, and so far so good. It seems to be working and working well. So have yourself an incredible day. Enjoy it to the fullest. I'll look forward to talking to you next time. And in the meantime, be good, be blessed, and be awesome.